Okay, so I'm gonna get a flashlight and let's see. I see what I would call like a little discoloration, and sometimes there's no way to tell until you wipe it. So let's get a shop towel here. All right, I only need one. And we're just gonna wipe the bottom. Now, when I had the Gen 1 and I did this, it was always green and just awful. So let's see what happens when we just wipe the bottom. There's a little brown, you can see, just a little. Yeah, it's actually, you know, I expected to see a little bit of growth in there on the walls, but it's really like, let's go over to the light here, see if we can see. There's really nothing. I see like these little, you see these little bits of brown? Like I said, with the Gen 1, it would just be, you know, I hate to be vulgar, but it looked like you just wiped your ass or something whenever I would do that in there. So that's not actually as bad as I thought it would be, especially after 8 months of not doing anything with this unit. I haven't touched it, I haven't cleaned it, I haven't put any of the cleaning fluid in there, I haven't done anything. So I'm surprised that this is as clean as it is. So that's a +1 for, you know, the Gen 2. But again, I think the Gen 1 was just garbage to begin with. Let's be honest. The units were crap and the way that they were designed was bad, so it was kind of inevitable that you were going to get just problems with it. So I'm not surprised that this doesn't have the same problems as a Gen 1 because it's just built better, you know? So let's connect these hoses, or rather disconnect these hoses, and then run some hot water through. So give me a minute to do that. Actually, I guess I can show you. So I think this still has water in it. So when I take this out, water is going to go everywhere. So let's move this. Show you how this kind of works. Okay. Yeah, this is hard to do with one hand. Hold. Okay, I just disconnected it from the reservoir here. And then you just plug it into this thing on the side so that when you run the water through, it'll just flush through. Now, since I haven't touched this, there's like these invisible buttons. One of them says cleaning, and I'm going to use that. There it is, clean. Hold 3 seconds. I mean, I love the front menu, but the fact that you can't see it unless you shine a light on it is a little annoying. Okay. So I'm going to put some hot water in here, and then I'm going to run the cleaning cycle and see what kind of grossness we get. Let me get a picture. I'm going to use boiling water because that, again, these are Gen 1 habits. As far as loosening up anything that was sitting in that water collection, you know, runoff area inside the Gen 1, whenever I use boiling water, it would start to sort of slough off, you know? So again, I'm kind of caught in my Gen 1 habits I probably do not have to do this. I'm just kind of curious as to what's going to happen when I do. This is so heavy, and I'm holding it with like one finger. All right. It's just enough to All right, there's our clean button. Hold for 3 seconds. And it switches to cleaning. So it's gonna suck all that in and just kind of cycle it through the system. You can see it's pretty boiling. You see the steam coming off there. While that's doing that, I have the long cleaner that a few of you guys asked about, and I put the link to buy this from Amazon in, I think, a couple of my videos, either in the comments or inside the description. So you can get these and you can run them through the hoses and really get almost all the way through the entire hose. Like somewhere around here, you know, you can't push it all the way into the machine, and probably shouldn't because there's a lot going on once this tube gets in here. But you can actually get it all the way through and clean the hose out. I highly recommend that because you can see that just with your visible eye that it's a little, you know, there's a lot going on. So those of you who have these know that when this is cleaning, you should have a nice trickle of water. I know sometimes in the videos of the demonstrations they show and it's coming out of the top, right? Like a waterfall. Mine has never done that. My Gen 1 didn't do that either. It always sort of just dribbled down the back like this. I don't think that that indicates a problem. I think that's just how the unit is. But you should always have water trickling down in some way. It may not be like a waterfall, but as long as it's going in and coming out the top, I don't know if you can see up in there, but as long as it's coming out of that hole up there, you're good. It means that the pump is working, that the unit is cycling properly. I should probably clean this filter. The filters that actually go in here, I used to have one, but for some reason the old ones for the Gen 1 did not fit in this unit. I don't know why, because they're supposed to. I'm gonna have to see if I can order some from the actual GE, because the ones I got on Amazon seemed like they were the proper ones, but I swear that it did not fit when I tried to put it into the section. The filter is just, again, it's like a filter in a water tank, you know, it just filters out some impurities and all that stuff. I thought I had a spare one that I could show you guys, but I don't have any more of them. But they didn't fit in here, and I don't know why. I was putting them in the same way that I would have, you know, put them in the Gen 1, but they didn't fit properly. So I'm going to order some and see if I can get them to fit. I'm not too worried about it, though, because I use either not distilled water, but spring water or water from our reverse osmosis system that we have under here. So we have one of these because our water here is, you know, it burns holes in the sink if you let it drip. I'm not going to drink that stuff. So we have a reverse osmosis filtration system, and it comes out of this faucet here. And I use either this water in the ice machine, or I use spring water, or, you know, faux spring water from Poland Spring. We all know that's not actually from a spring, but so I don't worry too much about the filtration thing. So this has done some cycling. The water is actually still really clean. I really don't think that there's too much in there, you know, that I need to really worry about. I don't think this is as gross as probably, you know, your guys' Gen 1s is. Aside from these hoses, which I'm going to get to, I'm not really worried about this. I feel like if I open it up, or if I go through the trouble of opening it up, there's not gonna be a lot sitting in there. It might be like maybe a little bit of mold that's just normally would be collected in anything that's gonna be holding water. But it's nothing like what the Gen 1 was. This entire thing was always green and just gross, and if I cycled water through it, like black chunks would come out. This is nothing like that. Like, this is just really, like, I think the water is maybe just like a little dirty. I don't really see any kind of issues. Let me drain it out. Let's take a look at the water. Let me see if I can do this without ruining anything here. Since I only have one hand to do all this. My apologies. Hold on. Come here. Okay, I'm really going to have to end up tilting this, but let's just drain the water out. Again, when I did this with the Gen 1, I drained the water out. You couldn't see through it. Like, it was so gross, you know, but again, I really think, you know, I am very jaded from the Gen 1 experience. I don't expect the Gen 2 to be like that. I generally really feel positive about this unit. I have not had any kind of problems with it. It has been making great ice. It's been working fine. I think I'm just really sort of just paranoid from all of the problems with the Gen 1. So whenever I did this with the Gen 1, this water, it was brown and it had stuff floating in it. You know, it was always so gross. And I would do it almost every weekend. I would run hot water through it. I would run HOCl through it, drain the water out, and there was always just crap in it every single weekend. It was ridiculous. Like, I could not get that thing clean. I don't believe the Gen 2 is going to be like that. It's been 8 months. It's been working great. This water is incredibly clear. Again, I see a little bit of residue in here, but like, it's nothing like the Gen 1 by any means. So even at this early stage, a lot of you are like, oh, should I get the Gen 2? If you like ice and you don't mind doing the maintenance on the machine, the proper maintenance, and I don't think you have to clean this every week. Again, this is a completely different build. This is the way that they built it is a little bit different. The way that it works is a little bit different. I think that if you have a Gen 1 right now and you opened it up because of my videos and you were horrified at what you saw, that is also partly on you, given that you never cleaned it properly to begin with. So I don't think that, you know, in the case of the Gen 2, you're going to have that same problem, because you're going to know that you do need to take a certain amount of care with these ice machines. You don't have to open it up every weekend and get in there with a sponge. You know, you don't have to, you know, take the whole thing apart every 5 minutes, but you do have to do some regular cleanings, clean your hoses, run some HOCl through the unit, you know, but I don't think you're going to end up having the same problems that you had with the Gen 1 if you've had a really bad experience with the Gen 1. You know what I'm saying? So I would always recommend whatever the updated model of the thing it is that you want, right? Especially if the first generation of that model is known to be a complete mess. I think that they did a really good job with this. When I first opened it up, it was very clean inside. And I don't mean clean as in not dirty, but I mean the way the inside is designed, it did look very different from how the Gen 1 was designed. And the fact that they moved the reservoir to be on the opposite side of where the heating is, which I don't know why they did that in the first place. Like, it just seems like they made some smart decisions in this design. The way that it's, even how the front is designed as far as how the ice tray fits in and has these edges that keep it more sort of airtight. I have no complaints about this machine. If you're on the fence and you hate your Gen 1, or because you haven't cleaned it in a million years, it's really gross, toss it, invest in the Gen 2, and I think there's even another ice making model now that's like black and like even a little sleeker than this one. If you really like ice, like I do, the chewable, Sonic ice or whatever they call it, I would invest. But just know that you do have to do some work. You have to put some effort into, keeping your hoses clean and, keeping the inside of it wiped down and using, not using hard water in the system and stuff like that. There's things that you can do to prevent it from looking like these nightmares that you guys have shown me in some of these videos that you guys have shown me. And some people sent me some Twitter DMs, that were, I can't even, I don't know how you guys are still okay if you've been drinking ice out of a machine that looks like that on the inside. I really advise you guys to get your health checked out, because it can't be good that that's happened to you. So a lot of people have asked, should I get one? I don't see why you wouldn't. I don't know what to say. There's nothing wrong with the machines. It just comes down to the fact that you do have to do a little bit more to them, than you may want to. But again, for me, it's been 8 months. This thing looks great. Let me finish draining these hoses so I can show you how I'm going to clean them out, just to see what's been building up in there. I don't think it's a lot. Now that I'm looking at these hoses in the light, they actually don't look that bad, but let's check anyway. Okay, I finished draining out all the water. So we're going to take this, and I'll do this one first, and put it in there. Is that a cat hair? Corey, your hair is on my cleaning utensil. Hold on. It's like wrapped up in there. My hair? Yeah. So what you want to do is you want to snake this through, push it all the way in, and then pull it out. Okay. I've got it almost to the end, and I think if the light is right, you see how there's some darkness up at the top there? So as I'm pushing it through, it's picking up debris on the inside of the tube. And that's, you can see it gathering. I don't know if you can tell, but I can see it at the end there. So let me finish pushing it through, and then we'll pull it out. Okay, there comes a certain point where you cannot push it through anymore, and I do not recommend trying to force it. There, you get some resistance towards the end as it starts going into the machine. Do not keep pushing past it. I don't recommend that. So let me see if I can get this pulled out, and then I can show you what it looks like. Alright, pull this out. See if I can show you. There's a little bit of debris that's caught in there. Let me see if I can get it to focus properly out here. As I'm pulling it out, I can see that the tube is even a little bit cleaner. See? So, see, there's just a little bit of staining on the end of the cleaner. The tube, from my perspective, definitely looks like a little brighter than the other one. So I don't think there's a lot in there, but this is something I highly recommend you do, because as you can see, you do get built up on the inside of these tubes. And that's where your water is running through. So as you're putting water in and it's cycling the water through, making ice, the water is running through these dirty, moldy tubes. So absolutely, you do have to clean them. The tube coming from the water tank, if you have one, definitely you have to clean that. Because remember, where's my water tank? Water sits in this thing all day, right? If you have one, it just sits on top of the thing and it just collects and sits. And you know that sitting water, you know, can become problematic, especially if it's warm or whatever. So always check the bottom of this, check the inside of your water reservoir, and make sure there's nothing collecting in there. I have the same problem with my coffee reservoir sometimes. If we don't get in there and clean it, you can see some staining and stuff from the water sitting in here a lot. So anytime you have something like this, just make sure you get in there and check it and keep it cleaned out. Standing water is always a bad idea anyway. So I'm gonna clean, yeah, you can even see, right? The dirty water just coming off. So you gotta clean these. This is just one of these mandatory maintenance things with these ice machines that you have to do, is get in there and clean them. This doesn't take that long. It's super quick. You just stick it in there and pull it out and you're done. Or you could do it a couple times just to make sure. But I highly recommend that you do this, you know, as often as you feel it needs to be done. This is one of these visual cues. You can see this. You can see that your hoses, you know, need to be cleaned. It's not something where you're guessing. So it's just something to take care of as you see it needs to be done. Don't let it build up. You know, do it every couple weeks or once a month if you feel, you know, you can go that long. And that will help, you know, maintain the quality of the ice that you're getting. So let me finish this up and we'll run the HOCl through. All right, hoses are cleaned out. I'm just gonna, hi Dory. Hi, are you helping? Huh? We all know how cats love to help, right? They're so helpful. Watch out. So I'm just gonna pour not too much of this, just enough to get it to run through. And we're gonna hit our cleaning cycle again. Where is it? Right there. Okay, just enough to get in there. And I may run this through a couple of times. Just, you know, just to give it like a decent cleaning. HOCl, like I said, is really strong. It's much stronger than bleach. It doesn't take a lot to work. So you just have to do a couple of, I would just do a couple of cycles and then rinse it out. You don't have to rinse it out crazy thoroughly like you do with bleach because it's not as toxic. Just a couple of rinsings and you're good. It's not like it's gonna hurt you if some gets into your ice or anything like that. It's not dangerous like that. It's super powerful though. So that's what's really cool about it. So again, don't take my word for it. Do your research about HOCl, about how to make it, about how long it's been in use and what it's all about. It's a great, great thing to use to clean with. It is absolutely wonderful. And it does actually kill COVID on surfaces and also in the air. And that's a bonus for anyone who's really, pandemic conscious. So, like I said, I use it in my home. I fog my air. It's really great. So, I guess as I finish this up, I'm going to finish running this through. I have no problems. My ice tray looks great. There's no discoloration or anything like that. Like I said, I really feel like a lot of us are traumatized, for lack of a better word, because of our experiences with the Gen 1 ice machine. I don't think that you have to worry about that same stuff happening. I feel like what we know now as ice maker owners, right, is that you have to take care of it. You have to keep cleaning it. You have to maybe at the 6-month or year mark open this thing up, and when I do it, I'll do a video and show you guys how easy it is. Get in there and maybe clean the inside a little bit. But I do not think that you have to do it constantly. I don't think that these ice makers require a constant kind of maintenance. Clean the tubes, right? Flush them out, and just make sure that if you're using hard water, which I don't recommend. I recommend you use some either distilled water or spring water or reverse osmosis water, something that's almost pre-filtered so that it doesn't make the inside of your machine worse. If you do those things, if you just take those precautions, I don't think that you're going to have any problems. I think that you're going to end up with a unit that serves you well, for however long you have it. I think that a lot of people just didn't realize how much, maintenance goes into these or how bad they can get. So my recommendation is, if you really love having ice in your home and you have the disposable income to afford one, I say go for it, because I don't think that the amount of work that goes into maintaining them is, I think it's worth it, to have the ice for what you have to do to take care of the machine, if that makes any sense. I haven't had enough coffee, so I apologize. I just mean that I like my ice more than I mind cleaning this unit, once a month or wherever long it takes. I don't think it's that much work. This loud churning noise when it's cycling water or making ice, I don't find this annoying. A couple of people have posted in the comments that they also have kind of a loudness when it's making ice. I think that if this kind of level of noise bothers you, then turn the TV on or something. I don't think that this is a big deal. Like I said, I sit next to a very powerful PC all day, and it's got a lot of fans in it, and it runs hot and it's loud sometimes. That's nothing to me. This kind of sound is not a problem. I'm not going to complain about that. I think that if you complain about a machine that makes noise, I don't know what to say. I don't think that's a big deal. If it was making some sort of, clunking or, some sort of sound that indicated that it was broken, that would be a different story. But I think it's just loud when it's, cooling and heating and doing its business on the inside there. It stops after a while when it's done doing its cycle. So I don't mind. It's not the entire time that it's on. It doesn't make that sound. It's only during the process of making ice. And I don't really notice. I got music on, I got computers running, the TV's on. I don't notice that. So that's the only, if you even want to call that a negative. See, it stopped already. That's the only thing I would say is a negative, is that it did not originally make this noise when it was making ice, and it does now. If that's the only problem I have with this unit, I'll be fine. I don't care about that. As long as it's making ice and it's not a mold factory, I don't really care. So to me, I'm very happy with this. It's only been 8 months, but I'm happy with how the unit has been operating. I don't notice any problems with mold or, exceptional problems with mold like with the Gen 1. I'm very happy with it. I'm happy with how it's been performing. So that's my 20 million cents that I've given you about this ice machine. I really, really, really appreciate all of you guys that have been interested in this and like have been requesting me to make videos about this. I'm glad that this has helped a lot of you. I honestly, when I first thought of making the video, I just honestly was just like, because we already had the Gen 1 and I bought the Gen 2 and I had both units at the same time before I threw the Gen 1 away, I thought, oh, I'll just make a quick video talking about them because I have them both at the same time and see if, it helps anyone, because I learned so much. I really didn't expect them to be all that helpful, and I didn't expect so many people to respond. So thank you, and I hope that if you do decide to get the Gen 2, you have, the kind of luck I've had with this one. I think maybe one more video will be coming when I actually do the full opening of this unit. I did open it once, like I said in an earlier video. If you're curious, you really just have to, take these screws off and pry off the top. They made it a lot easier than the Gen 1. I mean, you can see that this is designed to just pop off. So I will do a video of that when I actually do the full inside cleaning. I don't know that that's going to be soon. I don't feel that it needs it. I may go another 8 months. I may go a year. I'm not sure. But I promise to definitely do a video of it when I do open it. And if I do have any problems along the way, I promise to update you guys and say, okay, this happened or this happened or this happened, whatever. But I don't anticipate that occurring. But please, if you have questions or you are, just curious about how things are going with my machine, leave me a note on any of my videos. I tend to respond to everyone's comments. I'm really glad that I could help a lot of you. There's been some really great comments from people, and I really appreciate it. And I'm glad that I was able to help you guys make decisions or figure out what you need to do and stuff like that. That makes me really happy. I really wasn't thinking that the video would help as many people as it did. So I guess that's all for now. I'm gonna finish cycling this, empty out the hoses, and do a couple of rinses just to get the remainder of the HOCl out, and then make some ice and go back to playing some Final Fantasy today. I'm gonna relax because it's like 100 degrees and I'm a little tired because I haven't been feeling too well. So I apologize for taking so long, but thanks for waiting, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this series. I will put up another video, I don't know, if you're still around in maybe another 6 months, we'll do another check. Does that sound good? All right. I'll wave to you guys. Bye.